I want to start now with the future of Dallas City Hall, a court fight, and how it appears the council is leaning at this time about the iconic building's future. On Friday, Dallas Mayor Eric Johnson called for a special meeting on Wednesday, June 17th to vote on relocating City Hall. It's the latest turn in what was a very active week. Last Tuesday, a small group of council members won a temporary restraining order to hold off voting to leave City Hall and sell the land in a special called meeting. The council could only discuss one item the next day, a phased City Hall repair strategy that by some estimates would be over $500 million. However, in a 9-6 vote, the council rejected the idea and instead agreed on an amendment that gives the city manager until August 26th to come back with options for selling City Hall and leasing or buying space if city workers are moved out of the building.
One of the main things that have been asked for from my residents in my town hall and from many of the speakers over the course of this last several months is to have a true side-by-side comparison.
But we need to get serious about the fact that 15 acres is not going to be what is the catalyst for downtown.
Well, after the vote, Dallas Mayor Eric Johnson issued a statement. It reads in part, quote, instead of delivering the Dallas taxpayers a $1 billion invoice for a dilapidated government office building that is impeding the growth of a large section of our urban core, the city council took an important step toward realizing my vision of a downtown teeming with life, with community, and with social and economic activity. Before the city council meeting on Wednesday, Ion Politics reporter Jack Fink sat down with two former mayors who occupied Dallas City Hall and have very different ideas about the building's future. Here's former Mayor Tom Leppert's response to Jack.
We need to create an exciting, dynamic downtown. It's critical. Nearly half of our tax base comes from downtown Dallas. And unfortunately, as we've seen over the last 6 months or so, downtown Dallas hasn't done as well as it could have or should have. We need to reimagine that, use the area around City Hall and the area that's being opened for the convention center, and really rethink downtown in a way that will attract people to live there, to come visit, to stay there, and to really contribute to not only Dallas, but the entire region. On top of that, we're faced with the issue at City Hall of putting well over $500 million into a building that creates no benefit other than for 1,000 or 2,000 people who work down there. But it doesn't create any new economic base. It doesn't create a tax base. It doesn't attract people. It doesn't do any of the things that we're going to need to build downtown. The combination of those two issues, I think it makes compelling on Wednesday to go ahead and move away from City Hall and create something special.
And the people who oppose that, the people who want to keep Dallas City Hall in place, have said it's paid for. And yes, it's going to cost money to keep it up. The city hasn't done that, obviously. And they say, why get rid of it? What do you say to that?
Well, it is going to cost a lot. The reality is you're going to be building a new building is what it comes down to. And we need to understand the whys of that. This is a 50-year-old building. 50-year-old buildings need new plumbing systems, new electrical systems, etc. And the way that it was built, largely concrete, it's going to be very expensive to address those issues. In addition to that, being 50 years old, what the initial estimates didn't include was how do you make it ADA compliant and how do we make it code compliant? Those are city codes. If you and I go in and make adjustments in buildings, we've got to bring the building up to code. The city's going to have to do the exact same thing. When you start adding those numbers together, Jack, you get to $500 to $600 million are the estimates. Then on top of that, you need interiors that's another $100 to $200 million. In addition to that, I can tell you, as someone who led the company that's the largest in the nation in building, I've never seen a project like that comes in below the number. Once you open up those walls, once you start going into those systems, you're going to find a lot of other things that you're going to need to do that are going to push the time out and that are going to add cost. The short answer is it is almost a crime to the taxpayers of this city to put that much money into a building, especially when you've got 9 million square feet of available office buildings in the downtown area of Dallas. That's simply not being faithful to your responsibility as a fiduciary. And from a fiscal standpoint, it's literally irresponsible to put that much money into a building.
Well, Jack then had to sit down and asked former Mayor Laura Miller what she wants to see done to the building. Here's her answer.
Well, as the landlord, they should fix it. What is really strange to me is that they would have a vote on this when we just heard that their hopeful tenant, the Mavs, want to go to Valley View. So why the rush? There's no plan for the building. There are no cost estimates on what it's going to cost to demolish it. So there's no plan. So why are we rushing? And what's very telling to me is that the city manager would put on the item late on a Friday night on a special agenda that you can't delay if you're council members. So it's all very non-transparent.
And what, I mean, because you opposed that even beforehand, before the Mavs said no, right?
Correct. We have an IMPay building. It is significant, it is unique, it's been in movies, it's our home, it's our gathering place. And to think that we would scrape it for any reason is, I think, bizarre and not appropriate.
And what do you say to those, like, I mean, Mayor Leppert, his line to me was, it's almost a crime to taxpayers of the city to put that much money into a building?
Well, number one, I do not believe the inflated costs that are being thrown around about the buildings, about the building. And I think that we need to go back and get other people to tell us what it cost. You know, I was there for 5.5 years. Many mayors after me were there, and nobody said that City Hall is falling down. So all of a sudden, in the last 6 months, we have a decrepit building that needs to come down. That building will be around a lot longer than any human being on the planet right now. It is a very strong, solid building.
And so what do you say, though, because, I mean, there have been several firms, you know, I think 4 firms have now said it's going to cost, the latest estimates were that just to fix, put in the new systems, et cetera, anywhere from $531 to $611 million over the next 6 to 10 years in major repairs. Prior estimates were to fix it and modernize it, bring it up to ADA and other standards, would bring it to over $1 billion over a 20-year period. That's a lot of money, right?
Well, when you actually talk to the people that worked in the building for decades and took care of it, and they say these numbers are not accurate, and this is what's really necessary, and this is what we did in the building, and this is what we didn't do, and this is what has to be done now. It's a very different picture.
So the big question now is, what is next? According to the agenda posted, the council will vote on authorizing City Manager Kimberly Tolbert to come up with 4 sites in the Dallas Central Business District for relocating City Hall. Second item authorizes Tolbert to come up with 4 sites in Dallas to relocate 911 and emergency operations. That meeting, by the way, is next Wednesday at 8 a.m.